It is the final countdown. 3 months until my new book, Your Time to Rise, Unlearn Limiting Beliefs, Unlock Your Power, and Unleash Your Truest Self. We have 3 months until this baby is released. It comes out January 14th, 2025. So you don't want to miss it. You want to pre-order your copy of my book. So you have it at the ready. You can read it. You can blow through it. I'm telling you, it's a page turner. Meaning you're going to get so much goodness, so many learnings, so many insights. You yourself will generate your own insights when you read this book. This book, you don't only read it, you do the book. That's why it's so powerful. It's not just another book sharing with you philosophy and theory. It is a book that you actually do and you work through. That's why it's so helpful, because it forces you into action. And next to awareness, action is how you get results. Now, in this podcast episode, I wanted to share a little bit more about why I wrote the book. Why I wrote the book and why did I do that now? In full transparency, no, I didn't just write the book yesterday. It takes time to write a book and to edit the book and to make sure it is an accurate reflection of what you wanted to communicate and what you wanted to say and what you wanted to share and how you wanted to contribute to a conversation and how you want to impact people's lives. It takes longer than, a few weeks to do that. This book took me in total maybe 2+ years to really write, edit, and do all the things and go through the process of having a finished book cover to cover. But obviously the process was much longer than that. I started writing in 2019, really, and threw out multiple drafts because I thought they were trash. Whether they are trash or not, no one will ever know, because I actually deleted them from every folder, from my computer. So I would have no track of those drafts because I didn't want to go back to them. So I want to share why this book, why now? Why now, meaning why at this time did I want to share this book with all of you. If you've been following me for a while and listening to this podcast, you've been with me through various pivots and shifts in my life. You've been there with me through that, as I've shared about that, not just in, becoming a mother of 3, but also all of my career shifts, identity shifts, and then leaving the practice of law to run employee relations and leadership development at a fast-paced biotech with an incredible mission. And then being a lawyer at law firms before that and clerking. You've been through many of my, I would say, post-practicing lawyer pivot. And although there are incredibly insightful and helpful books out there on personal and professional growth that I've personally read, and you know that I am a voracious reader, so I love everything from The Big Leap to Do Hard Things. I'm looking at my bookshelf, Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. You know that I love that book. Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, Gifts of Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I mean, there are so many books out there, particularly on the personal and professional growth topic in particular. I felt like most books, not all, but most books don't really consider the lens of high achieving women of color professionals. Perhaps the books focus on women of color. Perhaps the book focuses on top performers. Perhaps the book focuses on leaders and organizations. But I felt like there was a gap to bridge and to fill when it came to high achieving women of color professionals, which is important because there are multiple and complex layers to our experience that gets missed when you haven't yourself experienced it. If you're an author writing about high achieving women of color professionals, you're going to miss something massive if you're not one of them, like upbringings, messages, cultural messages that we internalize, and societal messages that we internalize differently from others because of our upbringing, and beliefs that we hold that limit us or are unhelpful to us in the long run in our careers. So I wanted to write this book for those who are open to taking stock of where they are. You're open to honest reflection, taking an honest look at yourself, your life, and to ensure that the path that you're pursuing is more intentional, so that what you're doing isn't on default. It's not autopilot. It's not based on momentum. It's not based on, because this is where the path has taken you, what you've worked hard for, but based on who you truly are, what you really want and need in this season of your life. My book, Your Time to Rise, is a book about how to find clarity and explore possibilities and how to create alignment and fulfillment in your life and in your work. I delve a lot into how to help you break free from limiting beliefs and negative and recurring patterns of thinking and expectations that you've internalized that are keeping you stuck and are keeping you dissatisfied. It's keeping you from that internal peace that you're striving for. Because I believe in my bones that you can be fulfilled personally and professionally. It's just a matter of how to arrange your life so all of the parts are aligned with how you want to live and how you want to work. And in the book, I lay out a 4-part framework on how to do that. Now, some people will ask me, what is the role of self-reflection? Okay, I'm going to pick up the book. I have to be willing to first be honest with myself. I have to come to my book reading experience open, right? I have to come open. So why do we have to engage in the self-reflection? Why does it matter for maintaining and achieving some clarity and owning your own path? Doing things on your own terms. Why do we do so much self-reflection? Why is it so important? Reflection, by definition, means that you're just thinking deeply and carefully about something. We do this in our everyday lives during each workday. You do this with your teams, with your colleagues, with those who supervise you, who manage you, or who you work with and for. So we're constantly thinking deeply and carefully about things that we're working on. And we have to practice the same thing with ourselves. Okay, so self-reflection helps to ensure 3 main things. First, it helps you face the truth of your current reality and take more of a bird's eye view of what's happening. But you have to be honest with yourself about it or it won't be effective. It allows you to understand what's working, what's not working, what do I need, what do I want, what needs to change now, and what can I make peace with? The second thing that self-reflection really helps to ensure is that you're intentional with what you're doing. That could be something at work, like a presentation or project, a meeting you're leading that's really important, or a series of meetings you're leading that's really important. It could be the way you're leading your team, the way you interact with other people, or the way that you're just living your life. The key is that you're not running on default or autopilot or based on momentum, like I mentioned before. You are being intentional about your decisions, about how you make them, why you make them the way that you do, and your actions. The third thing that self-reflection really helps to ensure, and why it's so important for you to do that and get this book, is that it helps to ensure that what you're doing is aligned with your long-term goals, where you see yourself and why. So your habits and your daily actions are in service of that future goal, really in service of that thing that you're aiming for and striving for. So I wanted to share, in the spirit of self-reflection, I added, it really was at the last minute. I wanted to do an author's note at the beginning of the book. So there's a quote by Cleo Wade, who again, I adore, her book, Heart Talk, before chapter 1. And I wanted to add an author's note as a bit of a self-reflection of why I wrote the book. And I am actually going to read that to you right now. Why would you read something on your podcast? People can read it when they get the book. Yeah, I want you to hear this author's note because I want you to understand exactly where my head was at and what I was reflecting on at the time that this book was printed for the first time. Because this copy I have right here is actually the advanced reader copy, which is the copy that doesn't have the final proofread completed yet. The copy that you will see in January is fully proofread. You know I wouldn't put a book out that wasn't fully proofread, okay? Come on. You know me better than that. I'm going to read you the author's note. And I'm going to read it literally from the book right here. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I'm reading it. If you're listening on the podcast, I'm just going to read it straight from the book. So you may hear my page turn. Author's note. According to most statistics, as the daughter of Dominican immigrant parents, I shouldn't have even graduated high school, much less gone to college, law school, practice at large law firms, or anything else I've done. Like you, I've worked my behind off for professional success. There were blessings and burdens I carried along that journey, partly related to the messages I'd internalized throughout my life of what it meant to be good, to sacrifice, to quote, just be grateful, to quote, keep your head down and do the work, to quote, keep it moving, to quote, be strong, and to continue to prove your value. The identity crisis that arose within me after the birth of my first child forced me to figure out who I was and what I truly wanted, without the weight of everything I had been carrying and the titles I had worked so hard to earn. With each career pivot and life transition I've had since then, I've had to learn how to shed identities to make way for new ones, and to continue to shed beliefs that didn't serve me anymore, all to make room for those that did. For almost 10 years, I've engaged in this work and coached others to do the same. What I've learned is this: if you want to feel better about your life and live fully, you must anchor yourself in your truest truth, envision what you want in the future, and go in that direction. It takes unmasking yourself and being intentional about aligning what's on the inside with what you're doing on the outside. Being a mother adds layers of complexities and challenges to this. As of this writing, I'm the mother of 3 children, ages 9 and under. As I was accelerating in my career and having kids, I experienced burnout, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, and the baby blues. As women, too often we sacrifice ourselves and aim for perfectionist type standards in every area of our lives. And this way of living is causing us too much suffering. It causes too much internal conflict, and the mental load can be too heavy to bear. So many of us have lost the joy in living, and we deserve to feel fulfillment and joy. But this book isn't just for moms. If you're at any type of inflection point or crossroads in your life or career, this book is for you. I'm on a mission to show women, especially women of color and first-generation women, doing the motherhood and career thing, how to live with more fulfillment and joy. After I finished the final draft of this book, I left a job I loved to pursue that mission full time. The calling became too strong to ignore, and I had to answer that call. It was my most significant inflection point yet, and I'm thankful that this book will have reached your hands almost 1 full year after I turned the final page on the previous chapter of my life and began this new one. In this book, I walk you through a 4-part framework to take you from stuck, confused, or uncertain to clear and confident on your path forward to finding joy and fulfillment in your life. I pull from experiences as a first-gen Latina, a mother, former big law lawyer, and human resources leader in leadership development, and as a certified high-performance coach for high-achieving women of color and first-generation women. To maintain confidentiality, I've altered the names of my clients and changed details to protect their identities and their stories. While I refer to research studies that highlight the experiences of women of color, the experiences of women of color are not monolithic. When I speak specifically about my Latina experience, I do not speak for all Latinas. Even within our cultures and communities, we have a wide range of experiences, resources, and histories. There is rich diversity among all our experiences, as well as commonalities. And as you read on, I hope you see yourself in these pages and that you recognize how much power you have right now to make the changes to your life that you're longing to make, or to finally make the decision you've been grappling with. I hope you see yourself as the greatest catalyst there could ever be. Thank you for picking up this book and for being open to exploring what fulfillment and joy can look like for you, because you deserve it. That, my friends, is the author's note. That is why I want you to pick up this book and squeeze every ounce of juiciness and goodness from it, because you deserve to do that for yourself. So go pick up the book. You can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. With that, I will see you next time.